The rain hammered the stained-glass windows of St. Bartholomew's Episcopal Church like 1,000 accusing fingers, each drop echoing the whispers that slithered through the pews. Jordan Ellis stood at the altar, his black suit clinging to his frame like a second skin soaked in grief, clutching the urn that held the ashes of the man who had been his entire world. As the mourners filed in, old money vultures in tailored wool, their eyes sharp as daggers, Jordan heard the hiss of it first. "Gold digger," spat from the lips of Alex's estranged sister, Evelyn, her voice a venomous thread weaving through the solemn hymns. 23 years. That was how long Jordan had loved Alexander Harrington, from the stolen glances in a crowded gallery to the quiet vows exchanged under a Brooklyn bridge at dawn. But to them, to the Harrington clan with their trust funds and country club memberships, Jordan was just the pretty young thing who had latched onto a dying millionaire, siphoning his fortune like a thief in the night. Evelyn's glare burned into him now, her perfectly manicured hand clutching a lace handkerchief as if it could wipe away the truth. Alex was gone, felled by a sudden heart attack at 55, leaving Jordan not just widowed, but branded a parasite in the obituary pages of the New York Times. Jordan's knees buckled slightly as the priest intoned the eulogy, words blurring into white noise against the storm outside. He could still feel Alex's hand in his, rough from years of boardroom battles, soft in the stolen moments they'd carved out amid the chaos of Alex's empire. "You're my anchor, Jordy," Alex had whispered just weeks ago, his breath warm against Jordan's neck in their Upper East Side penthouse. Now, that anchor was ash, and the sea of faces before him churned with judgment. Little did they know, the real storm was yet to break, the one hidden in the folds of Alex's last will and testament, waiting like a thunderclap to shatter their smug certainties. Jordan forced himself to straighten, his hazel eyes scanning the crowd. There was Marcus, Alex's longtime lawyer, fidgeting with a leather portfolio near the front row, his face a mask of professional neutrality. Beside him sat Theodore Harrington, Alex's younger brother, a venture capitalist with a perpetual smirk that said he knew everyone's price. And Evelyn, oh Evelyn, perched like a queen on her pew, her diamond earrings catching the dim light as she leaned to murmur to her husband, Reginald, a real estate tycoon whose fortune dwarfed even Alex's. He married that boy for the thrill, she'd sneered at the wake the night before, her voice carrying just far enough for Jordan to catch it over the clink of champagne flutes. 23 years, my brother wasted on a gold digger half his age. Mark my words, the will won't be kind. The service dragged on, a procession of platitude from colleagues who spoke of Alex's mergers and acquisitions as if they were the measure of a man's soul. Jordan's chest tightened with each empty tribute. They painted Alex as the titan of Wall Street, the Harrington heir who had built a tech conglomerate from his father's fading textile mills into a billion-dollar beast. But they never mentioned the man who sketched blueprints for orphanages in his spare time, or the one who cried during their first dance at the wedding, vowing to Jordan that love wasn't a transaction. As the casket, empty, symbolic, since Alex's wishes had been for cremation, lowered into view on a hidden mechanism, Jordan's vision swam. He wanted to scream that Alex had chosen him, not out of pity or loneliness, but because in a world of calculated risks, Jordan was the one sure bet. The burial followed in the family plot at Greenwood Cemetery, Brooklyn's sprawling necropolis where the Harringtons had laid their dead for generations. Umbrellas bloomed like black tulips under the relentless downpour, and Jordan walked behind the procession, mud sucking at his polished shoes. Whispers followed him like shadows. "Did you see that ring?" Alex must have bought his silence. From a cluster of distant cousins, their faces pinched under wide-brimmed hats. Jordan's wedding band, a simple platinum not intertwined with Alex's signet, felt heavier than the urn he'd carried earlier. He bit back the retort bubbling in his throat. How dare they? He, who had given up his struggling art career in Chicago to follow Alex east, who had painted murals in their home that captured the raw pulse of their love, reduced to a fortune hunter. At the graveside, as the priest sprinkled holy water over the plot, Evelyn stepped forward, her heels sinking into the sod. "Alexander was too generous in life," she said, her voice pitched for the crowd, "and I fear his legacy will suffer for it now." Heads nodded, murmurs of agreement rippling like the rain on puddles. Jordan's fists clenched at his sides. He could picture Alex's laugh, deep and rumbling, dismissing his family's snobbery with a wave. "Let them talk, love," he'd say, pulling Jordan close. They'll eat their words one day. That day, Jordan realized with a hollow ache was today. Marcus cleared his throat then, signaling the end of the service, and the crowd began to disperse toward waiting limousines, leaving Jordan alone with the stone angel that marked the Harrington plot. But solitude was fleeting. As Jordan turned to leave, Evelyn blocked his path, her umbrella tilted like a shield. "The reading is in an hour, at the firm," she said, her tone clipped, eyes raking over him as if appraising a faulty investment. "Don't be late, though I suppose you're eager to claim your spoils." Reginald chuckled behind her, a low, oily sound. Jordan met her gaze, his voice steady despite the tremor in his heart. "Evelyn, Alex loved you once. He'd want you there to honor him, not to settle scores." She scoffed, turning away with a flick of her coat. "Honor? From a man who married beneath him? Spare me." The law offices of Sterling and Hale occupied the top floor of a gleaming tower in Midtown Manhattan, all glass walls and minimalist chrome that screamed old money restraint. Jordan arrived, soaked and shivering, the elevator ride a blur of his reflection, pale, hollow-cheeked, the weight of loss etching lines into his 32-year-old face that hadn't been there yesterday. Marcus greeted him in the conference room, a space dominated by a mahogany table long enough for a dozen egos. The family was already seated, Evelyn and Reginald at one end, Theodore slouched with his phone in hand, and a smattering of aunts, uncles, and cousins filling the chairs like reluctant jurors. "Shall we begin?" Marcus asked, his voice a practiced calm as he unfolded the will, crisp vellum pages sealed with Alex's looping signature. Jordan took the seat at the opposite end, the table a chasm between him and Harrington's. His mind raced back to that rainy afternoon in Central Park, 23 years ago, when a 23-year-old Jordan, fresh from the Art Institute of Chicago, with paint under his nails and dreams in his pockets, had collided with Alex's portfolio under the Bethesda fountain. Alex, then 32, all sharp suits and sharper wit, had bought Jordan a coffee instead of suing for the spilled sketches. "You're a force," he'd said, eyes locking with that intensity that would become their private language. From there, it was letters across states, stolen weekends in hidden motels, until Alex proposed on a whim during a gallery opening, his voice breaking as he knelt. "Marry me, Jordy. Make me believe in more than balance sheets." The memory stung as Marcus cleared his throat. Alexander James Harrington, being of sound mind. The legalese flowed, bequests to charities, millions to the Harrington Foundation for LGBTQ youth shelters, a nod to the causes Alex had championed quietly, hand in hand with Jordan at Pride marches. Gasps rippled at the sums. $10 million to Greenwood's Preservation Fund, $5 million to the Brooklyn Museum's Contemporary Wing. Evelyn's lips thinned. She'd angled for the foundation's control, whispering to Alex in his final months about family stewardship. Then came the personal gifts. Theodore received the Hamptons estate, a begrudging acknowledgement of brotherly debts. Cousins got trusts, aunts jewelry. Jordan's breath hitched as Marcus paused, adjusting his glasses. "To my beloved husband, Jordan Ellis Harrington." The room tensed, forks of anticipation in the air. Evelyn leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with the promise of vindication. "I bequeath the entirety of my personal fortune, including the penthouse, my shares in Harrington Tech, and all liquid assets, valued at approximately $150 million. A beat of stunned silence, then chaos erupted. "What?" Evelyn shot to her feet, chair scraping like a scream. "This is outrageous. He manipulated him. Alex was ill, vulnerable." Theodore's phone clattered to the table. "Brother, you can't be serious. The boy gets everything." Murmurs swelled into accusations. Gold digger, opportunist, the words Jordan had braced for now hurled like grenades. Marcus raised a hand, unflappable. "There's more," he continued, voice steady. "However, this bequest is contingent upon Jordan fulfilling the promise we made on our wedding day. To use our shared life, not for hoarding, but for healing. Jordan is to oversee the creation of the Harrington Ellis Center for Artistic Equity, a foundation dedicated to funding queer artists from underserved communities, with an initial endowment of $50 million. The remainder shall fund scholarships for LGBTQ youth escaping conversion therapy, modeled after the Safe House, where Jordan found his voice in Chicago." The room fell deathly quiet. Jordan's throat closed. He remembered that night, huddled in the drafty attic of the Rainbow Refuge, sketching his fears while volunteers smuggled him meals. Alex had visited after reading one of Jordan's exhibited pieces, a raw portrait of hidden love, and stayed, not as a savior, but as a partner. Evelyn's face drained of color. Artistic. What? Alex never mentioned. Because he didn't need your approval, Jordan said softly, his voice cracking but firm. He saw me, Evelyn. Not my age, not my background. He saw the boy who painted our story on canvas walls, who held him through boardroom wars and midnight doubts. This isn't about money. It's about the legacy we built together. Marcus nodded, sliding a folder toward Jordan. Inside were sketches, Alex's, hidden in a safe deposit box. Rough lines depicting Jordan asleep in their bed. Notes scrawled in margins. My muse. My home. Let them judge. Our love outlives their ledgers. Tears blurred the ink as Jordan traced the lines, the room's hostility dissolving into awkward coughs. Theodore slumped back, murmuring, I didn't know. Evelyn sank into her seat, handkerchief twisting in her fists, her empire of resentment crumbling under the weight of truth. As the reading adjourned, Jordan lingered, the city lights twinkling beyond the windows like distant stars. The will hadn't just silenced them. It had rewritten the narrative, turning whispers of greed into echoes of grace. In the quiet, Jordan whispered to the empty air, We did it, Alex. Your heart, our heart, beats on. But the story didn't end in that conference room. Far from it. The will's revelations ignited a firestorm that would test Jordan's resolve like never before, pulling him into a web of family secrets, corporate intrigue, and a rekindled spark of passion he thought buried with Alex. For in the shadows of grief, Jordan would discover that love, like art, was never truly finished, only waiting for the next bold stroke. The days following the will reading blurred into a haze of legal meetings and media frenzy. Tabloids splashed headlines across their glossy pages. Harrington heirs shocking bequest. Widow inherits empire amid family fury. Jordan dodged paparazzi outside the penthouse, their flashes like lightning strikes on his raw nerves. Inside, the space felt cavernous without Alex's booming laugh echoing off the exposed brick walls. He wandered the rooms, fingers trailing over the Basquiat print they'd haggled over at auction. Alex's impulsive bid, Jordan's delighted gasp. For us, Alex had said, hanging it above their bed. Evelyn's call came on the third day, her voice a brittle wire over the line. We need to talk, Jordan. Family matters. He agreed, if only to stem the bleeding. They met at the Polo Lounge in the Pierre Hotel, a bastion of Harrington privilege with its velvet banquettes and crystal chandeliers. Evelyn arrived in a sheath of burgundy silk, Reginald at her elbow like a silent enforcer. Jordan, in jeans and a cashmere sweater, Alex's favorite on him, slid into the booth, the scent of aged scotch and old grudges thick in the air. You've won, Evelyn began, no preamble, her martini untouched. The money, the shares. But Alex's company, Harrington Tech, it's not a toy. Theodore and I have run it in his absence these past weeks. There are complications. Her eyes flicked to Reginald, who nodded curtly. Jordan leaned back, sensing the trap. Complications like what? Sabotage? Or just sour grapes? Reginald cleared his throat, his voice gravelly from cigars. A whistleblower claims Alex cooked the books on the Meridian merger last year. SEC's sniffing around. If it blows up, the stock tanks, and your precious foundation with it. Jordan's stomach dropped. The Meridian deal. Alex's crown jewel, a green tech acquisition that had tripled their revenue. He'd slaved over it, late nights with Jordan bringing takeout to the office, massaging knots from his shoulders. Alex wouldn't. Wouldn't what? Marry a hustler? Falsify reports? Evelyn interrupted, her smile sharp as shattered glass. We have proof. Emails, ledgers. Sign over control to us, Jordan. Keep your artist Garrett in the penthouse. We'll handle the mess quietly. The offer hung, laced with threat. Jordan's mind reeled. Was this revenge or truth? Alex had always been the straight shooter, but power corrupted quietly. He left the hotel with a headache pounding, hailing a cab to the Brooklyn studio he'd kept as a bolt hole. The space was a chaos of canvases and turpentine, sunlight slanting through loft windows onto half-finished portraits. Jordan sank onto the worn leather stool, pulling out his sketch pad. Lines flowed, unbidden. Alex's profile, fierce and tender, overlaid with shadows of doubt. Had their love blinded him to cracks in the foundation? That night, sleep evaded him, dreams tangled with boardroom battles and Evelyn's triumphant leer. Morning brought Marcus to the penthouse, his briefcase bulging with documents. They're bluffing, mostly, the lawyer admitted over coffee, the city awakening below in a symphony of horns. The whistleblower is one of Theodore's plants. But there's smoke. Alex did bend rules on Meridian, minor discrepancies to speed the deal. He wanted it for the climate initiatives, Jordy, for the world you both dreamed of. Jordan paced the Persian rug, heart twisting. And now, if it unravels, it won't if we play smart. Marcus spread files, audits, timelines. The will gives you majority shares. Call a board meeting. Assert control. Jordan nodded, a spark igniting amid the ashes. For Alex, he'd fight, not with fists, but with the fierce honesty their love had forged. The boardroom at Harrington Tech's headquarters in Chelsea was a fortress of steel and glass, overlooking the Hudson's restless flow. Jordan entered flanked by Marcus, his suit of armor of midnight, well tailored just for this. The directors, suits mostly, with a few venture allies, murmured as he took the head seat, once Alex's throne. Theodore lounged at the far end, arms crossed, Evelyn absent, but her influence a ghost in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan began, voice steady despite the quiver in his chest. Alex Harrington built this company on innovation and integrity. Recent allegations threaten that legacy. Gasps at the directness. He pressed on, unveiling Marcus's audit. Discrepancies exist, yes, but they were oversights in pursuit of a greater good. The Meridian Project, which powers thousands of homes with clean energy, will correct them transparently, with full disclosure to the SEC. Theodore snorted. Bold words from the grieving widower. You think you can waltz in and play CEO? Murmurs of agreement. Jordan met his gaze, unflinching. I don't play, Theo. I love. And Alex loved this company enough to entrust it to me. Question my marriage again, and you'll question his judgment on everything, including your stake. Silence, thick as fog. Then, a gray-haired director, Ms. Leon, nodded. The boy's got spine. Alex always said he was the real visionary. Votes shifted. The motion to retain Jordan as interim chair passed 7-5. As they filed out, Theodore paused, clapping a hand on Jordan's shoulder. Too hard. This isn't over, little brother-in-law. Family sticks together. Or bleeds. Exhaustion claimed Jordan that evening, but solace waited in an unexpected call. Jordan? It's Liam. Liam Carver, from the gallery days. The voice was warm, laced with a faint Boston lilt. Liam, the sculptor who'd shared studio space with Jordan in Chicago, their flirtations a spark in lean times before Alex swept in. They drifted apart, but now, hearing of the funeral, Liam had reached out. I'm in town for a show. Dinner? You sound like you need a friend. They met at a dimly lit bistro in the village, fairy lights strung like stars over checkered tables. Liam, 35 now, broad-shouldered with ink-stained fingers and a beard framing easy smiles, enveloped Jordan in a hug that smelled of clay and pine. Over pasta and Chianti, stories flowed. Liam's rise in the art world, exhibits in L.A., a quiet life after a messy breakup. Jordan confessed the will's weight, the family's barbs, the creeping doubt about Alex's choices. You're not a digger, Liam said fiercely, his hand covering Jordan's across the table. You were his light. I saw it, even back then, how he looked at you like you hung the moon. The touch lingered, warm against the chill of loss, stirring something dormant in Jordan's chest. Not betrayal, but possibility, a bridge from grief to grace. As they parted under the awning, rain pattering softly, Liam brushed a thumb across Jordan's cheek. Call me any time, Jord, for sketches, or more. Jordan watched him vanish in a night, heart pounding with a mix of fear and fire. Alex's will had silenced the doubters, but it awakened questions Jordan hadn't dared ask. Could love bloom again from these embers? Yet dawn brought no answers, only escalation. A package arrived at the penthouse, anonymous, wrapped in plain brown paper. Inside, a USB drive and a note in Evelyn's elegant script. See for yourself. The truth Alex hid. Trembling, Jordan plugged it in, files unfolding like a house of cards. Emails between Alex and a Meridian exec, figures massaged, bribes veiled as consulting fees. His world tilted. If this leaked, the company and their dreams would crumble. Confrontation was inevitable. Jordan stormed Evelyn's Park Avenue apartment that afternoon, the doorman waving him up with a pitying glance. She greeted him in the foyer, serene in pearls and cashmere, as if she'd summoned a delivery. "You've seen it," she said, leading him to the sunlit parlor overlooking Central Park. "Alex wasn't the saint you painted him. He cut corners for you, for that foundation fantasy. Now, sign the shares to me, or I go public." Jordan's voice shook with fury. "Why? Jealousy? Because he chose me over your blood empire?" Evelyn's mask cracked, eyes glistening. "He chose you over us. After father died, Alex promised to protect the family. But you turned him soft, made him chase rainbows instead of revenue." The admission hung, raw and revealing. For the first time, Jordan saw not villain, but a sister bereft, clinging to legacy as lifeline. "I won't let you destroy what he built," Jordan said, standing tall. "We'll fix this together. For Alex." Evelyn laughed bitterly. "Together? You're the outsider." But doubt flickered in her gaze. As Jordan left, the USB clutched like a grenade. He realized the real battle wasn't for fortune, but forgiveness. And in that, perhaps, the true inheritance. The whistleblower's shadow loomed larger with each passing hour, a specter Jordan couldn't outrun. He spent the night in the studio. The USB's contents burned into his mind like acid etchings. Alex's emails, terse, pragmatic, revealed a man cornered by ambition, bending ethics to secure Meridian's promise of sustainable futures. For Jordy's kids, one note read, a private vow to the youth they'd never have but always fought for. Tears smeared the screen as Jordan drafted a confession to Marcus. Full disclosure, penalties paid, the company salvaged through truth. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by dreams of Alex's funeral, the urn shattering under judgmental stares. He woke to sunlight piercing the loft's grimy windows. Liam's text glowing on his phone. "Coffee? My treat. You vanished last night like a ghost." Jordan hesitated, fingers hovering. Alex's ghost lingered everywhere, but Liam's offer felt like oxygen, a breath beyond the grave's grip. They met at a corner cafe in Williamsburg, hipsters nursing lattes amid vinyl records spinning jazz. Liam arrived with a sketch under his arm, a bronze maquette of intertwined forms, abstract, yet evocative of two souls merging. "Inspired by you," he said, sliding it across the Formica table. Jordan traced the curves, warmth blooming despite the chill in his bones. "It's beautiful. Like us, back in Chi-Town, messy real." Conversation meandered from art critiques to shared heartbreaks. Liam's eyes holding Jordan's with a gentleness Alex's intensity had complemented, not replaced. "Grief's a thief," Liam murmured, stirring his espresso. "Steals the color from everything. But you're still vibrant, Jord. Don't let them dim you." The words unlocked something. Jordan confessed the USB, Evelyn's ultimatum, the fear gnawing at his core. Liam listened, then squeezed his hand. "Fight dirty if you must." Alex would, and if you need backup. The implication hung, electric. Emboldened, Jordan returned to the penthouse, calling an emergency board session. But first, a detour. The Rainbow Refuge in Chicago, now a thriving center thanks to Alex's early donations. He booked a flight, the hum of the plane a lullaby over the Midwest. Landing in O'Hare stirred ghosts, his 20-year-old self, wide-eyed and terrified, fleeing a family that saw his queerness as a stain. The refuge's director, Ms. Rivera, a fierce Latina woman in her 60s, enveloped him in a hug scented with sage and hope. "Alex's will. It's a godsend," she said, touring the expanded wing named for them. Murals by queer artists, dorms for runaways. Jordan's throat tightened. These walls breathed their love. He believed in second chances, he whispered. Ms. Rivera nodded. "As do you. Whatever storm you're in, channel it here." The visit grounded him, a reminder that legacy wasn't ledgers, but lives touched. Back in New York, the board meeting crackled with tension. Theodore arrived with allies, Evelyn's proxy in his pocket. Jordan opened with the audit unflinching. "We've self-reported to the SEC. Fines incoming, but Meridian stays, cleaned up, transparent." Outrage erupted. "Reckless. Suicide." Theodore slammed a fist. "You're tanking us for your pet projects." Jordan stood, voice rising like a crescendo. "Alex tanked nothing. He built this for impact, not insulation. And his will, our will, demands we honor that. Vote to oust me? Fine. But you'll face shareholders explaining why you buried his vision. The room fractured, votes splintering. In the end, 6-6 tie broken by Ms. Liang's gavel. Jordan stayed. Theodore stormed out, vowing lawsuits. That victory soured swiftly. Evening brought a knock. Detectives from the Manhattan DA's office, badges glinting under the foyer light. Mr. Ellis Harrington? We need to ask about the Meridian discrepancies. And your involvement. Jordan's blood iced. Evelyn's doing, no doubt. He cooperated, hours blurring in a sterile interview room downtown, Marcus at his side reciting rights. No charges yet, the lead detective grunted, a burly man with kind eyes belying his badge. But witnesses say you influenced the deals. Romantic leverage. The accusation landed like a slap. Jordan, the muse turned manipulator? He laughed hollowly on the cab, ride home, the city a neon blur. Liam waited on the penthouse doorstep, takeout bags in hand. Heard through the grapevine. Figured you needed fuel. They ate on the terrace, skyline sprawling like a canvas, wine loosening tongues. Liam shared his own scars, a conservative family disowning him post-coming out, the sculptures born from that fire. Love's not linear, Jord. It's layers. Alex was one. Doesn't mean the story ends. Their knees brushed under the table, a spark Jordan hadn't felt since Alex's last touch. When Liam leaned in, lips tentative, Jordan met him halfway, soft, searching a balm on wounds. It wasn't erasure. It was evolution, grief yielding to growth. They parted breathless, Liam's whisper, no pressure. Just, here. But pressure mounted. Dawn's email from an unknown sender. Photos of Jordan and Liam entering the building, time-stamped. Blackmail? Theodore's handiwork. Jordan's resolve hardened. He'd expose the rot, starting with family. He confronted Theodore at his Soho loft, a minimalist layer of concrete and steel. The photos, childish. And the detectives? Evelyn's puppet strings. Theodore smirked over scotch. Survival. Little bro Alex cut me out of Meridian. I returned the favor. Revelations spilled. Sibling rivalry festering since boyhood. Alex the golden child, Theodore the shadow. He married you to spite us. Prove he could choose heart over heritage. Jordan recoiled. He chose me because I saw him. The man, not the myth. The argument escalated, fists clenched, until Theodore deflated. Maybe, but the company's bleeding. Help me fix it. Off books, or we both sink. An uneasy alliance formed, born of necessity. Jordan agreed, stipulating Evelyn's inclusion. The trio met in neutral ground, a discreet club in the financial district, shadows pooling in leather booths. Evelyn arrived wary, her armor of poise cracking as Jordan laid out the plan. Anonymous tips to the DA on Theodore's plants, a joint audit to cleanse the books. For Alex, Jordan urged, not conquest. Tears traced Evelyn's cheeks, unbidden. I hated you for taking him from us, but he was happiest with you, laughing alive. The admission bridged chasms, hands clasped across the table, a fragile pact sealed. Yet trust was a fragile bloom. That night, as Jordan sketched Liam's profile by lamplight, bold lines capturing his quiet strength, the phone rang. Ms. Rivera, voice urgent, refuge vandalized, slurs on the walls. They mention your name. Rage surged. This was war, personal now. Jordan rallied, calling Liam, Marcus, even Theodore. The fight for Alex's legacy had just gone primal, pulling Jordan into depths where love's light flickered against encroaching dark. In those depths, though, glimmers emerged. Liam's steady presence, Evelyn's tentative thaw, threads weaving a new tapestry. But the storm raged on, and Jordan, once the accused gold digger, now stood as guardian, ready to unearth truths that would either redeem or ruin them all. Vandalism at the refuge hit like a gut punch. The news feed alive with grainy footage of shattered windows and crimson graffiti. Gold digger's shame. Jordan's name scrawled in dripping letters, a scarlet accusation tying his personal saga to the center sanctuary. He flew to Chicago that afternoon, Liam insisting on joining, their hands linked in the airport lounge, a quiet anchor amid the terminal's roar. We're in this, Liam said, his grip firm. Jordan nodded, gratitude swelling. Alex's absence ached, but Liam's solidarity stitched the wound. The refuge buzzed with repair crews and counselors, Ms. Rivera directing like a general. Hate crime, she confirmed, hugging Jordan fiercely. Cops are dragging feet, but your name lit a match. Inside, the damage gutted him. Murals he'd helped paint, portraits of resilient queer youth, defaced with slurs. Jordan knelt, tracing a fractured face, a trans teen's hopeful smile now crossed out. This ends, he vowed, phone already dialing his PR team. Back in New York 2 days later, the triad reconvened. Jordan, Evelyn, Theodore in the penthouse's study, Alex's desk, a war table strewn with reports. Liam hovered in the kitchen, brewing coffee, his presence a subtle claim on space. The vandalism's linked, Jordan announced, laptop open to IP traces Marcus had pulled. Traced to a burner account tied to your firm, Theo, one of your interns. Theodore paled, then flushed crimson. Not mine, swear it. But I leaked the will details to a reporter. Thought it'd pressure you. Evelyn shot him a glare. Idiot. Now it's blowback on all of us. The confession cracked the alliance further, accusations flying like shrapnel. Jordan slammed the desk. Enough. We go public together. Press conference tomorrow. Full transparency, on Meridian, the will, everything. Turn the narrative. Evelyn hesitated, fingers twisting her necklace. Father would roll in his grave. Jordan softened. Alex didn't. He rolled up his sleeves with me. A beat, then a nod. Theodore grumbled assent. As they dispersed, Liam drew Jordan aside in the hall, arms wrapping around him from behind. Proud of you, he murmured into Jordan's hair. The embrace lingered, bodies aligning in wordless comfort, desire simmering beneath grief's veil. The press conference in Harrington Tech's atrium was a circus, cameras flashing, reporters jostling under the glass dome. Jordan stood at the podium, flanked by Evelyn and Theodore, their suits a united front. My husband's death exposed fractures, he began, voice steady, eyes scanning the sea of mics. In our family, our company, our community. But Alex Harrington built bridges, not walls. Today, we announce self-correction on past errors, a donation surge to anti-hate initiatives, and the Harrington Ellis Center's launch, $50 million for queer artists and safe spaces. Questions pelted. Gold digger rumors? A tabloid hack, smirking. Jordan leaned in. Call it what you want. I called him husband. And his love was the richest inheritance. Murmurs shifted to applause as Evelyn stepped up. My brother chose wisely. We're honoring that together. Theodore's addendum on reform sealed it. Headlines pivoted overnight from scandal to redemption. But victory's afterglow faded fast. That evening, alone in the penthouse, Jordan uncorked a bottle of Alex's favorite Bordeaux, toasting the stars from the terrace. Liam joined silently, glasses clinking. You were magnificent, he said, settling beside him. Their talk turned intimate, future sketched in hypotheticals, Liam's hand tracing Jordan's knuckles. When lips met, it was inevitable, a slow unraveling of layers. Shirts shed, skin meeting skin on the rug before the fireplace. Liam's touch was reverent, exploring scars of loss with lips and whispers, reigniting Jordan's body like a canvas reborn. I see you, Liam breathed, echoing Alex's vow. Jordan arched, tears mingling with sweat. Release, not replacement. Morning brought regret's whisper, but not remorse. Liam stirred first, brewing eggs Benedict with a grin. No ghosts here, Jord. Just us. Jordan smiled, tentative. Yet the day unraveled with a call from the DEA. Charges dropped on Meridian, but new probe, embezzlement from the Foundation seed fund. Anonymous tip, the detective said. Points to you, siphoning for personal art buys. Fury boiled. Jordan traced it to Reginald, Evelyn's husband, the silent tycoon whose real estate empire had quietly vied with Alex's for years. Confrontation at their Upper East Side brownstone. Reginald in his study, cigar smoke curling like lies. Business boy, he drawled unrepentant. Your little center threatens my developments. Those youth shelters on my lots. The admission chilled. Reginald had blocked permits, now framing Jordan to kill the project. Evelyn, overhearing from the hall, burst in. Reg, you bastard. The marriage fractured before Jordan's eyes, Evelyn's slap echoing. Out. Now. Reginald left with a sneer, but the damage lingered. Trust eroded. Family splintered anew. Jordan retreated to the studio, Liam trailing with supplies. They painted side by side, silence companionable, strokes bleeding into collaboration. A mural of fractured figures mending, colors vibrant against the white wall. "This is therapy," Liam joked, but his eyes held heat. They made love again on the dropcloth, urgent and affirming, bodies a dialogue of healing. The embezzlement cloud lifted with Marcus's forensics. Funds intact, tip fabricated from Reginald's IP. Charges evaporated, but ripples spread, bored whispers of Jordan's instability, fueled by leaked photos of him and Liam. Theodore cornered him in the elevator. Banging the sculptor? Classy. Shareholders hate drama. Jordan fired back. Better than your betrayals. Back me, or step aside. Alliance teetered as the center's groundbreaking loomed in Central Park, a symbolic sod-turning for queer futures. Invites went out. Evelyn, Theodore, Ms. Rivera, even distant cousins thawing under public pressure. Jordan prepared his speech, words weaving Alex's memory with new hopes. But the night before, a break-in at the studio. Canvases slashed, the maquette shattered. Note pinned to the door. Dig your own grave. Fear coiled, but resolve steeled. Liam moved in temporarily, their nights a fortress of shared vigilance and passion. "Whoever it is," Liam vowed, arms locked around Jordan, "they won't break us." In the dark, Jordan believed it. Love's defiance a shield stronger than any scheme. Yet the attacker struck closer, a carjacking attempt as Jordan left a donor meeting, the assailant fleeing when Liam's horn blared from the passenger seat. Police linked it to Reginald's old associates, desperate men from foreclosed deals. Evelyn, remorseful, testified against him, her deposition a public gutting. "My husband tried to destroy my brother's dream." For greed. Reginald's arrest made headlines, the family purge complete. At the groundbreaking, sun dappled the crowd. 100 strong, rainbow flags fluttering. Jordan spoke, voice breaking. "Alex taught me love silences hate. Today we build on that silence, a center for voices long ignored." Shovels turned earth, Evelyn at his side, Theodore clapping awkwardly. Liam's hand in his, hidden but sure. Healing began, tentative. Dinners with Evelyn, stories of Alex's childhood swapped like treasures. Theodore's gruff apologies over golf, bonds mending. But for Jordan, the deepest mend was internal. Therapy sessions unpacking grief's layers, canvases filling with bold abstracts, lost transmuted delight. One evening, months on, Liam proposed amid the center's half-built frame. A ring of sculpted wire, simple as their first sketches. "Not replacing," he said, kneeling in sawdust. "Expanding." Jordan, tears flowing, said yes, a chapter, not closure. The will had silenced doubters, but life whispered on. Dramatic turns to grace, thrill to tranquility, emotion to enduring romance. In Alex's shadow, Jordan found not just survival, but sovereignty, a gold digger no more, but a guardian of gold-hearted legacies. The engagement ring caught the light like a captured star, its wire twists a testament to Liam's craft, imperfect, enduring. Jordan wore it beneath his cuff at the center's ribbon cutting, the ceremony a whirlwind of cheers and confetti under a cerulean October sky. Politicians glad-handed, donors toasted, and Ms. Rivera pulled him aside mid-speech. "Alex would beam," she said, eyes misty. "You've honored him, us." Jordan nodded, throat tight, spotting Evelyn in the crowd, her smile genuine for once, arm linked with a niece she'd brought to volunteer. Post-ceremony buzzed with after-parties, but Jordan and Liam slipped away to a quiet bistro overlooking the park, the city humming beyond fog windows. To us, Liam toasted clinking glasses, his free hand tracing Jordan's. Conversation danced from wedding whims, small, artistic, on a Chicago rooftop, to deeper currents. Liam's fears of stepping into Alex's echo, Jordan's guilt over moving forward. "It's not erasure," Jordan insisted, echoing their late-night talks. "It's addition, like layers on a canvas." Yet shadows lingered. Reginald's trial loomed, his defense painting Jordan as the villain, manipulative spouse goading corporate sins. Subpoenas arrived like unwelcome guests, dragging Jordan to depositions where lawyers grilled his motives. "Did you pressure Mr. Harrington for the Meridian shortcuts?" Jordan's answers were steel. "I pressured for ethics. For impact, Evelyn's testimony turned tides, her voice steady. My brother made his choices. Jordan made him better. The trial gripped tabloids, Harrington heirs' betrayal morphing to family feud, greed versus grace. Theodore, surprisingly, testified for the prosecution, his voice gruff. Reginald's the snake. Alex, Jordan, they were the spine. Verdict, guilty, 5 years. Evelyn visited Jordan post-sentencing, tea in hand at the penthouse. Closure, she said, handing over a box of Alex's letters. Unsent missives to her. Apologies for drifted years. Read them. Forgive me. Jordan did. Nights curled with yellowed pages. Alex's words of balm. Evelyn, Jordan shows me family isn't blood. It's chosen. Tears fell, but so did barriers. Sibling lunches became routine. Evelyn's laugh thawing into warmth. Professionally, the center flourished. First scholarships awarded to queer artists from Appalachia to the Bronx. Exhibits bursting with raw talent. Jordan curated personally, his own paintings re-emerging, vibrant abstracts of intertwined forms, dedicated to ANH, always. Sales funded expansions, whispers of Gold Digger, long faded to applause. Liam's integration deepened. Joint studio hours, travels to sculpture symposia in Santa Fe, where desert winds stripped souls bare. Their wedding planning wove whimsy, vows etched on copper plates, a reception with live jazz echoing their first cafe meet. But friction sparked. Liam's wanderlust clashing with Jordan's rooted duties. I need movement, Liam confessed one stormy night, rain lashing windows as they argued in the loft. You're tethering me to ghosts. Jordan recoiled. Ghosts? This is life, Alex is ours. The fight simmered, makeup fervent, bodies colliding in apology, love's fire forging stronger bonds. Therapy helped, sessions unpacking polyamory's echoes, Alex's open heart influencing Jordan's. He'd want you happy, the counselor said. Jordan agreed, inviting Liam to date nights at old haunts, the Bethesda fountain where Alex proposed, now a pilgrimage of permission. A year post-engagement, crisis revisited. A donor scandal rocked the center. Embezzlement by a board hire, funds siphoned for personal gain. Headlines screamed, Harrington curse strikes again, dredging funeral dirt. Jordan's board panicked, Theodore demanding his resignation. Can't afford more scandal, he barked in emergency session. Rage and resolve ward. Jordan countered with a forensic audit, exposing the thief, a cousin's plant, grudge-fueled. Public mea culpa followed, presser admitting lapses, vows of oversight. Donors rallied, contributions doubling. Through it, Liam anchored. You're the steady one now. Like Alex saw. Evelyn's role grew. She chaired the ethics committee, her business acumen a gift. For redemption, she quipped over brunches. Family holidays healed too. Thanksgiving at the Hamptons estate, Theodore's toast slurring into sincerity, nieces painting with Jordan, Evelyn sharing Alex's boyhood tales, mischief in the stables, dreams of changing worlds. Romantic milestones punctuated. Their wedding, intimate under Chicago stars, Ms. Rivera officiating. Vows exchanged, Jordan's, I choose you, as I chose him, fiercely, Liam's, I build with you, not despite. Dance floor spun with guests. Evelyn twirling Theodore, laughter echoing loss. Honeymoon in Tuscany. Vineyards rolling like paintings, villas whispering secrets. They sketched together, Liam's clay complementing Jordan's oils, nights tangled in linen sheets. Forever's a choice, Liam murmured, fingers mapping Jordan's skin. Jordan believed it, the past a foundation, not chain. Back home, legacy expanded. Center branches in L.A., Atlanta, serving thousands. Jordan's TED Talk went viral. Love's Ledger, Beyond Gold. Views in millions, invitations flooding. But personal tides turned poignant. Evelyn's cancer diagnosis, stage 2, whispered over coffee. Fight it, Jordan urged, echoing Alex's grit. Chemo vigils became ritual, her hand in his during infusions, stories of Alex's resilience a shield. Through her remission, hard won, celebrated with champagne toasts, Jordan penned a memoir, Silenced Whispers, weaving funeral barbs to triumphant wills. Bestseller status followed, proceeds to the center. Liam illustrated the cover, Two figures, one fading into the other's embrace. Years layered on, Theodore's partnership in the firm, mellowed by fatherhood to twins. Family reunions swelled, Jordan and Liam adopting a son from the Refuge Network, Eli, 8, with Jordan's hazel eyes and Liam's curls. Parenting's chaos, soccer games, bedtime sketches, grounded them. Eli's questions about Papa Alex met with photo albums and honesty. One autumn eve, 5 years post-wedding, Jordan stood in Central Park, Eli tugging his hand toward the fountain. Liam trailed, cameras lang, leaves swirl gold, mirroring that first collision decades prior. Full circle, Liam said, kissing Jordan's temple. Elise leshet, giggling. Jordan watched, heart full, grief a quiet undercurrent, love the roaring river. The will had silenced accusers, but life sang the epilogue. Drama distilled to depth, thrill to trust, romance renewed. In every choice, Alex's spirit lingered, not as haunt, but harmony. Jordan, once labeled digger, now dug deep, unearthing joys, planting seeds for eternities untold. Eli's laughter echoed through the penthouse, a soundtrack to Sunday morning's now routine. Pancakes flipped by Liam's steady hands, Jordan sketching at the island while coffee brewed. At 10, Eli embodied their blended worlds, curious as Jordan, sturdy as Liam, with questions that pierced like arrows. "Why'd they call you a gold digger, Dad?" he'd asked once, thumbing a memoir page. Jordan had knelt, honest, because they didn't see our love. But we did, and that's the real treasure. The center's 10th anniversary gala loomed, a glittering affair at the Met, black ties and benefactors mingling under chandeliers. Jordan curated the exhibit, Echoes of Us, queer artists' works inspired by Harrington Ellis Grant's. Evelyn, cancerous scar now, co-chaired, her gown emerald as renewal. To Alex, she toasted privately, clinking Jordan's flute. Theodore, Ty Askew, herded his teens, mirrors of his youth, won out as non-binary, crediting the center's programs. The evening swirled. Speeches lauding Jordan's stewardship, shares stable, foundation assets ballooned to hundreds of millions. A surprise, Ms. Rivera unveiling a wing named for Eli, Future Makers. Pride swelled as Eli, tuxedoed and beaming, cut the ribbon. Liam's arm around Jordan's waist whispered, "Our legacy." Post-gala, the family retreated to the Hamptons for weekend unwind. Tradition now, waves crashing as stories spun. Theodore confessed over bonfire. "I envied you, Jord. Alex's faith in you made me better." Evelyn nodded, marshmallows toasting. "We all dug gold in you." Personal chapters turned. Liam's solo exhibit in Berlin, Jordan joining mid-tour, Eli with Evelyn. City lights blurred from hotel balconies, their lovemaking a reaffirmation. Slow, knowing, years deepening touch. Back home, Eli's school played Cassim as a prince, queer-coded, naturally, Jordan and Liam front row, tears proud. Crisis revisited subtly. A young artist, center alum, accused of plagiarism, Jordan's old work echoed in her Rising Stars pieces. Whispers of favoritism swirled, board demanding investigation. Jordan, stung, led the probe himself. Innocent mimicry, but lesson in mentorship. Public seminar followed. Influence, not imitation, quelling doubts, strengthening ties. Eli's teen years accelerated time. Crushes confessed over ice cream. Coming out as bi at 14, Jordan's hug echoing his own refuge nights. "Love who lights you," he advised, Liam adding, "and build with them." Family expanded. Adopted daughter, Maya, 6, from Atlanta branch, her braids flying in park chases. Evelyn's health faltered again, recurrence, aggressive. Hospice talks loomed, her bedside a vigil of stories. Alex's wedding jitters, Jordan's first exhibit flop. "You silenced my bitterness," she whispered, hand frail in his. Her passing, quiet in spring, drew hundreds. Funeral a mirror of Alex's, but laced with love, not barbs. Jordan eulogized. She dug deep, found grace. Theodore's arm around him, Eli and Maya clutching hands. Grief cycle turned teacher. Jordan channeled it into a center endowment for cancer support in queer communities. Liam sculpted Evelyn's memorial, a woman rising from ashes, installed in the garden. Strength, he titled it. Midlife beckoned. Jordan at 45, silver threading his hair, curating global shows. Liam's foundry thrived, commissions from the Met. Eli, 18, off to RISD, art major. Naturally, his farewell dinner tear-streaked. "You gave me wings," he said, hugging Jordan. Maya, 12, vowed, "I'll stay forever." Anniversary 20 to Liam. Vow renewal in Tuscany. Eli officiating via video, Maya scattering petals. Vows evolved. Through storms and silences, I choose you. Nights under olive trees, bodies familiar yet fervent. Love's evolution a quiet miracle. Legacy's arc bent philanthropic. Harrington Ellis Global now, branches in London, Cape Town. Jordan's keynote at Davos. Equities canvas, shifted policies millions inspired. Backlash came. Conservative think tanks decrying woke wealth, but Jordan countered with data, hearts won. Personal pinnacle. Eli's wedding, 25, to a poet from his cohort. Jordan walked him down the aisle, Liam tearing up beside. Vows echoed his own, silencing doubts with devotion. Grandkids followed, twins, chaotic joys in the penthouse. Maya Annie at 19, studying law for advocacy. At 55, Alex's age when he left, Jordan reflected in the studio, canvas before him. Family portrait, generations layered. Liam entered, arms circling. "Our masterpiece." Jordan turned, kissing him deeply, and still unfolding. The will's echo faded to foundation. Drama's thrill mellowed to wisdom, emotion to enduring bonds, romance a constant flame. They called him Gold Digger once, but gold proved the alchemy of hearts, silencing all but love's eternal song. Decades wove their tapestry with threads of joy and quiet ache. The penthouse evolving from echo chamber to haven of chaos and calm. Grandkids, Owen and Lila, Eli's twins, toddled through, their giggles chasing shadows of loss. Maya, now a fierce attorney battling conversion therapy bans, crashed holidays with case war stories, her laughter a bridge to Evelyn's spirit. Theodore, grayed and grandfatherly, hosted annual Harrington Ellis galas, his one smirk softened to smiles. Jordan's 60s brought introspection, memoir sequel, Unsung Fortunes, delving deeper into Alex's hidden philanthropy, secret funds for AIDS orphans in the 80s pre-marriage. Revelations humanized the Titan, drawing fans who'd whisper at signings, "You kept his light." Liam, ever the builder, crafted a home edition, sunroom for painting, walls lined with their joint works. Evolution from grief's abstracts to familial warmth. Health's reminder struck gently. Jordan's heart murmur, echoing Alex's fate. Checkups routine, but the irony stung. Irony or inheritance? Liam joked during rehab swims, pool laps, a duet of strokes. Jordan countered, "Pramis, no sudden exits." Their intimacy adapted, tender explorations, words as vital as touch, love's language refined. Eli's career soared, gallery owner in Brooklyn, showcasing center alums. His exhibit, Roots and Wings, featured Jordan's early Chicago sketches, unearthed from storage, raw strokes of hidden love. Opening night, full circle, Ms. Rivera's successor toasting, from refuge to renaissance. Eli hugged Jordan, "Your story started mine." Global ripples grew. Center's model exported, UN citations for equity. Jordan keynote in Geneva, voice steady. Love silences division. Backlash persisted. Protests at branches, slurs online. But resilience prevailed, volunteers swelling ranks. Personal milestone. Liam's 70th surprise party in the Hamptons. Fireflies dancing as sculptor friends unveiled a bust. Liam mid-creation, eyes alight. Jordan's toast. "You sculpted my heart anew." Dance under stars, bodies swaying slow, whispers of forever against necks. Eli's loss came swift. A car accident at 42, poet wife shattered beside. Funeral in Greenwood, plot beside Alex's, irony bitter. Jordan eulogized through sobs. He dug deepest, love's purest vein. Grandkids clung, Maya stealing as big sister. Grief's communal now, family huddling. Theodore's gruff hugs, Liam's silent holds. Healing through legacy. Eli Ellis Gallery endowed. Exhibits of his photos, family candids, capturing joys. Jordan painted again, tribute series, Eternal Echoes, sold for Refuge expansions. Liam collaborated, frames of forged iron, strength encasing sorrow. 70s dawned reflective. Jordan at 72, travels curtailed but stories boundless. Memoir trilogy closed with Golden Silences, bestseller cementing his voice. Awards piled, Humanitarian of the Year, GLAAD icon, but greatest, Lila's wedding, Owen's med school acceptance, Maya's Supreme Court clerkship. Evelyn's anniversary neared. Jordan visited her plot, flowers in hand. We silenced the noise, he murmured. Theodore joined, arms slung, Cispy proud. Bond's unbreakable now. Liam's decline crept. Arthritis gnarling hands, sculptures pausing. Jordan adapted, co-creating. His brushes, Liam's guidance. Their evenings. Porch swings in the country home they'd bought. Stars wheeling as hands clasped. Best dig, Liam quipped, ring glinting. Jordan's 80s. Wisdom's perch, sent her autonomous under Maya's lead. Grandkids visited, Owen's kids, a new generation, picnics in Central Park, fountain tales spun. Great-grandpa Jordan fought for us, they'd say. He'd nod. Loves the fight. Final chapter whispered. Heart's whisper grew faint. Liam gone first at 89, peaceful in sleep. Funeral artist packed, Jordan's words. He built bridges from clay to sky. Plot beside Liam's chosen, will simple. Assets to center, letters to family. Love layered, never lost. Jordan lingered, 92, Eli's echo in his eyes. Memoir epilogue dictated. They called me Digger, till the will, till life, silenced all. Gold. Nah. Heart's the hoard. Passing in autumn, leaves gold, family encircling bed. Last breath. Alex. Liam. Home. Legacy roared on. Center eternal. Loves intertwined. In silences profound, drama's thrill yields to peace, emotion to eternity, romance to reunion. The Digger? A dreamer, unearthing infinities.